Welcome
to Coffee with Janis and Karen.
This is our first one of the new year. 2023.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah. So we're in Janice's house and she has taken all of her Christmas stuff down. And she's got some Valentine's stuff up.
Yeah, a little bit.
So yeah.
See behind us?
And transition, yeah. There's some. And there's
Little
more
bit.
that you can't see.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we had a meeting, about a week or so ago to decide what direction we kind of want to go. And we decided we were going to sell oysters and seals.
Hey, good idea, Karen.
I know, everybody wants one. We got to thinking though about it being a new year, and you were talking, and even today, we were talking about a school, and you were talking about, things change, and people change, and you have to give them a chance.
Right.
And so that's kind of what we want to talk a little bit about today, is giving people, especially people, another chance. Right?
Well, we want to be given another chance.
Right.
And we want people to know that we've changed. And so we have to extend that same grace to other people. I mean, if you're holding on to something that happened back in 2007, then you've held on to something way too long. Yeah. So it's just a good time to forgive, to let go, to start over, start fresh.
Yes.
And so that's kind of where we are.
Yeah. But let's preface it with this.
Okay.
Because that whole concept of giving someone another chance requires forgiveness.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked before about forgiveness, and when you forgive, that is an act of obedience, because we are children of God, and we forgive as Christ forgave us.
Right.
Now, the difference though is that when we forgive someone, it doesn't change them.
Exactly.
It changes us. And we're not carrying that weight around all the time.
Yeah.
And so, they don't have to come ask you to be forgiven. They may not even know they've done anything to offend you to begin with. They could be dead.
Right.
And you can still forgive them and move on. Yeah. So anyway, there's so what really spurred that on with you, giving people another chance? Was it
it was actually someone I had chatted with, and they were talking about something that actually happened way many years ago, and they were still holding that person I guess accountable or whatever for what they had done that they didn't like. And it just made me think, they've changed. I know that person, and I know they've changed. And they've gone through some really hard things in life that have changed them. And we know some people too that we've talked about that years ago, they were totally this way, but we gave them a chance to change. Yeah. And they did. I mean, they completely changed their character, their personality, I guess you'd say. And someone might say, well, I'm this way because that's the way God made me. And they may be referring to some anxiety they have, or some worry they have, or some, I don't know, they hold a grudge. Well, God didn't make us that way. And we can be different. We can change. Now, there are some people that have anxiety and things like that, that have to, when we've talked about this before, that have to have medication and that kind of thing. But, just to be in a constant state of worry, God does not want us to live that way. And so I mean, that's something you just continue to come before the Lord with.
You do.
And ask Him to help you. And I mean, it may not happen in one dose of prayer.
No, you may have to keep going back.
You may have to keep going back. But to me, I believe there's victory. I do. I believe there's victory. I've walked through some of that.
Sure.
And I came out on the other side.
Right.
And so I'm thankful for the victory God can give. Right. And that we don't have to stay the same.
No.
And that we can change.
And I mean, as we grow older, shouldn't we be getting more like Christ?
I think so.
Shouldn't we be developing more character? Instead of saying, well, when I reach a certain age, I can say whatever I want to say because I've earned it.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah. Is that what you want to be? Is that who you want to be? No. I want the older, and just like you said, Karen, I want the older I get to become more and more like the Lord.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's my desire. And I think other people have that same desire. And so if they can change, then we just need to allow some grace in that.
Yes.
So.
And if they don't ever change, if they always remain that same old cantankerous, hurtful person, well, you still can forgive them.
Yeah.
You don't have to. There was a word that kind of came out, and everybody would talk about having toxic people. And I mean, I guess there probably are some toxic people who everything is bad, everything is negative. They attack. Well, hurt people.
Exactly.
And so it might be that there's nothing you can do other than just wish them well. And, kind of try not to.
You don't have to hang
the
out.
Tiger.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to hang out with people like that. But I don't enjoy being around somebody that holds a grudge against somebody. Because I'm like, well, what if I mess up? Then I'm the next one. And so.
That's true.
Yeah. So.
That's true. And we know people who held grudges. And I remember growing up, I mean, hearing some of the older people talk about, well, things that their contemporaries had done in the past, and they would dredge that up again. And I didn't need to know that. But I guess they wanted me to be like on their team.
Right.
Right. So this is what we think about these people.
Yeah. Well, and when you get together with a group, I mean, we could say ladies, men could be the same way, but if they bring up something, let's just say one friend in that group had hurt somebody, and that friend is not there anymore in the group. But you get together and somebody has to drag that up. I mean, and it just kind of stirs the pot.
That shouldn't be what ties you together.
No. No. I mean, I'm thankful for the friends that I have. We don't have to talk about somebody else. Or, I mean, even when you and I are together, we don't have to talk about somebody else to make ourselves feel better.
No. We can be honest.
Yeah, we can be honest
if something
about.
Ever comes up,
well, sure.
We can say so. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Wow. What was bugging them?
Right.
Whatever. And that rarely ever happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that I don't think you and I really. I mean, we've got enough going on in our own lives. We don't need to be talking bad about somebody else.
Right.
So.
Right. And even, as parents and grandparents or whatever, your kids change too.
Yes.
And so, and that's really, oftentimes we're like, yes, and that's, you see them mature and you see them come along because you've trained them.
Right.
Hopefully, and then over the years, you see, and we kind of live in an unprecedented time in that the social media, kids are having social media, and we didn't really know what to do about it, or that we needed to do anything about it until much later.
Right.
And so there's all this sway from, outside influences and things like that can sway. You can send your kid to college that you train a certain way, and suddenly they come back a whole different person.
Exactly.
But guess what? If you raise them and you really pour it into them, give them a little bit of time.
What's the scripture? It says, train up a child in the way they should go. And when they are old, they will, what does it say? They won't depart from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
just because the liberal institutions are telling them one thing, it does. If you've raised them and you've trained them, give them time and give them time to change. And a lot of times there's I've watched it.
Yeah.
There's an adjustment that happens because you know what? The best people they know are you.
Yeah.
And those people that you have put in their lives, or the people from the church, different things, you find, wow, these are really solid people. Yeah, maybe I saw some of their faults, but then let's get outside the church and let's look at these other people, and well, where do you want to be? Well, these people aren't as kooky as I thought they were. So even giving your kids that time.
Yes.
To change and come around and come back to that more straight and narrow that you had taught them. Now, it may look different though.
Yeah.
Because I don't still believe the same things that I was taught as a kid, but neither does my daddy.
Right. Yeah.
So, and we talked about that too. If you've never changed anything in your beliefs,
yeah,
I don't know. I kind of wonder, well.
Well, you know what, Karen, a lot of Christians would say with that, what is that verse that says, something about returning to the things that you were taught. I can't quote the scripture right now, but never straying basically from what you were first taught. Well, it doesn't mean that you're straying from God.
No.
But a lot of times, some things that we were taught were man-made things.
Man-made teaching.
They weren't what was in scripture.
Or misunderstanding.
Or just a misunderstanding. Yeah. And, our family and excuse me, we came out of, evidently, they like to party and go and drink. I'm talking way back, and maybe they did a little over the top those things. And I don't know, I think gambling may have been talked about back then, and just things like that. So when our family, and I'm talking, our great grands.
Talk about Mathis.
Yes, our Mathis family. When they came to know the Lord, it was a huge turnaround.
A huge change.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in other words, they abandoned it all.
Yeah.
When they came to know Christ. So there wasn't any balancing. It was boom or boom.
So if I did that before I was converted, then I'm not
going to do it now. Exactly. So there was you wrote a song about it. When the gospel came, our lives were rearranged and talked about our
language to whatever.
Yeah. A complete turnaround. And yes, I know God can do that in our lives. And, we weren't brought up in that, I don't know, what you would call worldly things. Right. We were brought up very strict and very, almost over the top. Where we couldn't do a lot of things. And you would be surprised the things we couldn't do. But anyway.
This is a good time, though, to kind of put this session to a close.
Okay.
And then we can come back and visit that idea if you want to.
Okay.
Because we're talking about change in the new year and giving people a chance to change.
Yeah.
So this is Coffee with Janis and Karen. That's our first one. And come back and we'll do number 2.
Yep.